Hello everyone and welcome back to Mind the Gap. I'm Casey.
And I'm Jen. Thanks for joining us again. Today we're starting with a question that sounds simple, but is actually quite tricky.
Right, because we all hear people say it all the time. English is the easiest language in the world. Really? Is it though?
That's what we're here to talk about. So shall we jump in?
So, I was on the tube the other day, and there were these two tourists chatting away in perfect English. I could catch every word, right? But then I thought, if it's that easy, why can't I sound like that?
I think we've all had that moment. You know, English feels everywhere. Films, music, even on shampoo bottles. So we kind of assume it's easy.
Exactly. I mean, everyone around here learns it. Kids learn it. My friends chat in English when ordering coffee. So it should be easy, right?
It should, yes, but maybe it only feels easy because we're surrounded by it. That's not the same as truly using it.
So it's like hearing the music but never learning to play the instrument.
Exactly. You can hum along, but that's not the same as performing. And I think that's why so many people say the same few words like nice, interesting, good. They sound safe, but they don't really say anything.
Yeah, that's me. Every time I try to describe something, all I can say is, it's interesting.
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's just that English loves specifics. It likes you to paint a picture instead of giving a label.
So, when I say it's interesting, I'm just being lazy?
Not lazy, just playing it safe. But English thinking works differently. It pushes you to notice details like what's funny, what's odd, what's touching. That's where your language starts to sound alive.
Right. So maybe English isn't easier, it's just everywhere.
Yes, and that's the tricky part. Because when something is everywhere, you stop seeing it. You think you know it. But real English starts when you think in it, not when you just hear it.
That's quite true. We spend so many years studying words, but maybe not enough time thinking with them.
Exactly. So today, let's have a proper look. What does it actually mean to think in English?
Sounds good. I'm ready. Though, I might still say it's interesting.
That's perfectly fine. We'll start from there. Alright, so last time we said English isn't really easy, it just feels easy. And that's where most learners get stuck. They think they've already got it because they understand so much, but speaking feels like hitting a wall.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I can watch an English film with subtitles and follow everything, but when someone talks to me, my brain just freezes.
That's the perfect example. You've got loads of input, but not enough output. It's like filling a bucket with water, but never opening the tap.
That's a good image. So, why does that happen? I mean, we all spend years learning grammar and words.
I think it comes down to three things. First, the sound of English. The rhythm is completely different from Chinese. In English, you don't give every word equal weight. You stretch the important ones and almost swallow the rest.
Right, so it's not about pronouncing every word clearly.
Exactly. That's why native speakers sound so fast. They're not fast, they just have that rhythm. It's a bit like music. You've got beats, pauses, and stress. If you copy that rhythm, even simple words start to sound natural.
That actually makes sense. And the second thing?
The second is what I call the detail gap. English loves clarity. It forces you to choose. For example, when you say in Chinese, 它姜花很有味道, that's beautifully vague. But in English, you'd have to decide, what kind of 味道?
Right. So I'd probably say something like, that person's speech was very interesting.
Yeah, that's the usual go-to sentence. It's fine, but it doesn't tell us how it's interesting. It's safe, but it's flat.
What you want is something like he expresses himself in an engaging way.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about vocabulary, it's about seeing pictures in your head.
Exactly. The English mind loves specifics. It doesn't want you to say something is good. It wants to know why it's good. Maybe his tone is warm. Maybe his timing is witty. Maybe he speaks slowly but keeps you listening.
He speaks slowly but keeps you listening. I like that. It feels alive.
Yeah, that's the point. When you use English like that, you're not translating anymore, you're describing. And that's when your English starts to stand out.
I suppose that's also the reason why some people sound more natural than others. They're not smarter, they just think in smaller pictures.
Exactly. It's not about how many words you know, it's about how you connect them. That's where pace and rhythm come in. It's not just language, it's flow.
I guess that's why you say English isn't easy. It's not difficult to learn, but it's hard to sound right.
Exactly, and that's what we're exploring today. Once you start seeing English as pictures and rhythm, not rules and words, everything changes.
All right then. I'm all ears.
So Jen, you keep saying think in English, but I still don't really know what that means. Like, how do you actually think in another language?
Yeah, fair question. It sounds abstract, doesn't it? But really, it's not about translating less, it's about seeing differently. When you think in English, you kind of turn on a different camera in your head.
A camera?
Yeah, imagine this. In Chinese, you often describe the feeling of a scene, but in English, you describe the picture. You show what's happening, who's doing what, and when. That's the whole trick.
Right. So instead of saying how I feel, I describe what I see.
That's spot on. There are 4 things English almost always needs: a subject, an action, a setting, and a time. Let's take something simple. Say you want to say 今天好冷. Most people translate it straight as today is cold. It's fine, but it's flat.
Yeah, it sounds like a weather report.
Exactly, but when native speakers say it, they often switch camera angles. For example, they might say, it's freezing out, that's the environment. Or, I can't feel my fingers, that's the body's reaction. Or even, the wind's cutting through me, that's a picture.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's like they're painting with words.
Exactly, and it's not fancy language either. They're just showing the listener what they see or feel. That's what I mean by thinking in English. You stop summarizing and start filming the moment.
That's such a good way to put it. So if I want to sound more natural, I should think like a filmmaker.
Yeah, kind of. You decide where to point the camera, and British English especially loves those subtle sensory details. Like, instead of just saying, it's cold, people might say, should have wrapped up warm. That's not just temperature, that's mood.
I love that one. It sounds so British, like someone's shivering but still trying to sound calm.
Exactly, there's always that dry humour underneath. But what's important is every sentence gives you a small picture. So when you hear native speakers, try to ask yourself, what picture are they painting?
Right, so if I take something abstract like 气氛很好 and I turn it into a picture, I could say, everyone's relaxed, chatting and laughing quietly.
Yes, that's lovely. You see how that suddenly feels real? You can almost hear the voices, right?
Yeah, I can. It feels warm, you know, like a small cafe where people are just comfortable being there.
That's it. And that's what thinking in English really means. It's not about speaking fast or using big words. It's about noticing details, turning feelings into images, and letting language follow naturally.
That actually feels more doable now. It's like training your eyes, not your mouth.
Spot on! Once you start seeing life in English frames, your sentences will take care of themselves.
So, Jen, I've got a question that I think a lot of people secretly want to ask. I keep telling myself I'm going to think in English, but the second I start, my brain just switches back to Chinese.
Yeah, that's completely normal. Your brain's just going home, that's all. The trick isn't to stop it, but to slowly build a new route. You can't force your thoughts to change language overnight, but you can guide them there.
That sounds comforting, actually. So, how do I guide my brain? Like, in real life?
True, that's a good way to put it. Let's think about it this way. You don't need a classroom or a textbook. You just need small daily habits that quietly train your brain to stay in English mode.
I like the sound of that. Habits sound doable.
Alright, here's what I love, the scene switch trick. Imagine you're walking into a cafe, it's absolutely packed. Instead of thinking, 好多人哦, say to yourself, it's packed. I'll pop back later. That's already English thinking.
Oh, that's clever. And pop back, that means come back later, right?
Exactly, or swing by again, if you like. It's casual, very British. And saying it in your head makes your mind play in English rhythm, not Chinese logic.
Right. I suppose it's like talking to yourself in English without realizing.
That's right. And once he starts, you'll catch yourself doing it everywhere. On the bus, in the lift, even while brushing your teeth. That's when you know it's working.
I'll keep that in mind. So what's next?
Let's move to something fun, the 5 senses method. English loves sensory words. When you describe something, don't just say, it's nice. Use your senses, like coffee, for example. It's smooth with a nutty aftertaste.
It's smooth with a nutty aftertaste. That does sound better than just nice.
You've got it. You can do the same with everything, weather, music, food, people. The more senses you use, the more English your brain becomes.
So it's not about big words, it's about being aware.
Exactly. Now, another one I really like is what I call the reverse simplification. Most learners try to sound clever, but real English is all about clarity.
So, simpler is better?
Not simpler in vocabulary, but clearer in action. For example, if you want to say 他很有个性, instead of some fancy phrase, just say he does things his own way. That's perfect.
I love that. It's so clean. And you can actually picture the person doing things differently.
That's spot on. Right, next one's a little mental game I call the night rewind. Every night before bed, ask yourself 3 tiny questions. What did I do? What stood out? What would I change? And answer them in English.
Ooh, I like that. It's like an English diary, but without pressure.
Exactly. It's short and it builds reflection. Even if your answer's just one line, you're still teaching your brain to process the day in English.
I can see that working. It's simple enough to stick with.
That's right. And the last one's my favourite, because it feels like a game. I call it mini theatre. You imagine a short English scene and act it in your head. Like helping a lost tourist. You can switch at King's Cross.
I could do that while waiting for the bus. Just pick a scene and play it out.
Exactly, that's the idea. And if you make it a habit, you'll start noticing you can react in English before translating. That's when you know your English brain is waking up.
All right, let me try one right now. Today's been long. I'm tired, so I'd say, my brain's mush. I'll take a quick walk round the book, then crack on.
Spot on. That's brilliant. See? That's exactly the kind of natural rhythm we're aiming for.
It actually feels good to say it. Like it flows, you know?
That's right. Because now you're not memorizing, you're living the language. And that's how you train your English brain, by letting English live inside your daily life.
You know, Jen, something funny happened the other day. I was paying for a sandwich, and when the cashier asked if I wanted the receipt, I just went, "Could I get a receipt, please?"
That's nice. So it just came out naturally.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I didn't plan it or translate it in my head. It just came out before I even realised. It felt like, I don't know, like my brain suddenly switched modes.
That's spot on. That's what I call a click moment. You know, the second your mind realizes it doesn't need permission to use English. It's not that you learn something new, it's that your thoughts finally connected with your words.
That's such a nice way to put it. It really did feel like something just clicked. I remember walking away from the counter thinking, wait, did I just think in English?
You were, absolutely. That's you finding your stride. You know that feeling when you've been learning to ride a bike and suddenly you realise you're not holding the handlebars so tight anymore? That's it.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of freeing, isn't it? Like you stop worrying about being perfect and just talk.
That's right. And that's the thing most people don't realise. Fluency isn't about speed or vocabulary. It's about trusting yourself enough to speak without fussing over every word.
True. I used to pause before every sentence, trying to find the right expression. Now I just say what feels natural. Sometimes it's not perfect, but it still works.
Exactly. No one's waiting for perfection. What people care about is connection. And honestly, those small, imperfect moments are what make conversations real.
That's so true. I think before I was trying to perform English, you know, like it had to sound clever or proper. But now it's more like I just use it to be me.
Yeah, that's when it becomes part of you. It's like your thoughts don't need translation anymore. They just move. And from there, it all grows naturally.
You make it sound almost peaceful.
It is actually, because language isn't just about saying things right. It's about feeling comfortable inside it. Once you stop translating, you're not studying English anymore, you're living it.
That's beautiful. So the real goal isn't perfection, it's comfort.
That's spot on. Comfort first, perfection later. Because the more at ease you are, the more natural your English sounds. So no pressure, no fuss, just keep going.
I like that. No pressure, no fuss. I think that's going to be my motto for this week.
That's the spirit.
You know, after everything we've talked about, I've been thinking about that question again. Is English actually easy? I mean, maybe it's not the easiest, but it's definitely the one that follows me around the most.
That's a fair way to see it. English is a bit like that neighbour you didn't invite, but who somehow ends up at every party. It's just everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You see it on signs, in songs, on menus. Even when you're not trying to learn it, it finds you. It's everywhere. Might as well use it properly.
That's spot on. And you know what? I don't think English is easier, it's just more accessible. You get so many chances to bump into it, so it starts to feel familiar.
Right, that's true. You can almost live your whole life surrounded by it without even noticing.
Exactly. But the real change happens when you stop just noticing it and start using it. Even small things like saying your thoughts in English for a few seconds or writing a tiny note to yourself, they count.
Yeah, like training your brain bit by bit. Those small daily shots, right?
That's the idea. You don't need an hour a day, you just need a few seconds of attention, repeated often. Language isn't built in a classroom, it's built in tiny moments of curiosity.
That's actually really encouraging because sometimes, you know, learning English feels like a long road. But if it's about moments, not miles, then it doesn't sound so scary.
I like that. Moments, not miles. That's very true. And the funny thing is, those moments pile up faster than you think. One day you'll just realize you're speaking without noticing.
Yeah, maybe that's when I'll know I finally got it. Or at least that I've stopped overthinking it.
That's right, because the moment you stop overthinking, that's when your English starts to breathe. So no pressure, just keep collecting those daily frames, those little English moments in your day.
You make it sound so poetic. I almost don't want this episode to end.
Well, we're nearly there. So, is English easy after all? I'd say it's not the easiest, but it's the most generous. It gives you endless chances to connect, to think differently, and to see the world in a new frame.
That's a lovely way to end it.
So remember, it's not the language that's easy, it's the access. And if you take those daily shots, one scene, one thought, one phrase at a time, your English will start to grow naturally.
Yeah, that's how you do it, right?
Exactly. That's how you mind the gap between knowing and thinking.
Beautiful. All right then, shall we wrap it up?
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. And if you enjoyed today's talk, remember to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's also learning English.
We'll see you next week with more stories to help you listen, think, and live in English.
Cheers!
Cheers.